Join me, God-fearing man, here in this field among my horses to rest a little from your difficult day, and let the word of God edify your spirit at the same time. I will soon reveal to you the wisdom I have for you today. Let's open the Bible together to Proverbs chapter 13, verse 18. I wrote, "Poverty and disgrace come to those who ignore discipline, but whoever heeds correction is honored." These words are like a mirror to every God-fearing man, because they reveal the difference between the one who shuts himself off from counsel and the one who embraces correction. Whoever accepts instruction prospers. Whoever rejects it suffers. Poverty is not just a lack of material goods. It's also the emptiness that arises when wisdom is rejected. Honor, on the other hand, is not just the respect of men, but the recognition that the one who accepts instruction lives in harmony with the Lord. Now allow me to take you to a few more pieces of advice I wrote in Proverbs, chapter 19, verses 20 and 21. Listen to advice and accept instruction, that you may gain wisdom in the future. Many are the plans in a man's heart, but it is the Lord's purpose that prevails. What I meant to teach here is simple and profound. Human plans may be many and even seem brilliant, but without instruction and without God's direction, they vanish like smoke. Listening to advice is sowing long-lasting wisdom. It is preparing the heart to walk firmly, even as the years go by. There are still many lessons within this theme that we will address in detail in our conversation today. But first, I would like to read with you what I wrote in Proverbs chapter 4, verses 1 through 9. Listen, my sons, to a father's instruction. Pay attention and gain understanding. I give you sound learning, so do not forsake my teaching. For I too was a son to my father, still tender and cherished by my mother. Then he taught me and he said to me, "Take hold of my words with all your heart. Keep my commands, and you will live. Get wisdom, get understanding. Do not forget my words or turn away from them. Do not forsake wisdom, and she will protect you. Love her, and she will watch over you. Wisdom is supreme, therefore get wisdom. Though it cost all you have, get understanding. Cherish her, and she will exalt you. Embrace her, and she will honor you. She will give you a garland to grace your head and present you with a glorious crown." See how majestic this promise is. When embraced, instruction becomes a crown. When welcomed, counsel becomes honor. The wise man who holds on to discipline not only avoids shame, but inherits dignity before God and men. So now I invite you to quiet your heart, to rest your mind and open yourself to listen as if you were sitting beside me. Don't be alarmed, but I will speak to you as though I were King Solomon himself, just as a way to ensure that in this way each word I say will come alive in your heart, and you will be able to experience in communion with God a deep dive into wisdom that comes from above. But first, let us pray together. Almighty Lord, I ask that you enlighten the mind and heart of this wise man who hears me now. Grant him humility to accept instruction, courage to embrace correction, and discernment to transform every word into living practice. May this journey be edifying, and may the fear of the Lord be the foundation of every choice, every step, and every decision. Amen. And if this journey of wisdom is already touching your heart, I ask you to go ahead and like this video now and take the opportunity to subscribe to the channel, so I can continue to welcome you in these moments of pause and rest, to give you advice that builds, strengthens, and prepares God-fearing men for a life of honor and prosperity. Humility to hear instruction opens doors to honor. I'd like to begin this path by opening to Proverbs chapter 10 from verse 17 to 21. I wrote, "The path of life belongs to the one who keeps discipline, but whoever despises correction goes astray. He who conceals hatred has lying lips, and whoever slanders is a fool. Where words are many, sin is not absent, but he who restrains his lips is wise. The tongue of the righteous is choice silver, but the heart of the wicked is of little worth. The lips of the righteous feed many, but fools die for lack of understanding." What I intended to reveal is that life remains steady when instruction is accepted, but the one who rejects correction sooner or later loses his way. Words can lead to error when they are born out of pride, but when they flow from discipline, they become nourishment for many. See how this translates into practical life. When the God-fearing man accepts correction, He not only grows in wisdom, but also feeds others with his experience. But the one who rejects instruction insists on walking alone and stumbles where he could have been spared. Look how many prefer to talk endlessly rather than listen to advice and thus fall into repeated mistakes. But the one who quiets himself to learn discovers that few words can carry more weight than long speeches. The discipline of listening transforms the tongue into a source of life, not an instrument of destruction. Now let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 7 from verse 5 to 12. I wrote, "It is better to hear the rebuke of the wise than to listen to the song of fools. For like the crackling of thorns under a pot, so is the laughter of the fool. This too is vanity. Truly oppression drives the wise mad, and a bribe corrupts the heart. The end of a matter is better than its beginning, and patience is better than pride. Do not be quick in your spirit to become angry, for anger resides in the heart of fools. Never say, 'Why were the former days better than these?' For it is not wise to ask such questions. Wisdom is good, like an inheritance, and beneficial to those who see the sun. For wisdom is a defense as money is a defense, but the excellence of knowledge is that wisdom gives life to the one who possesses it." What I meant to teach is that hearing correction hurts for a moment, but protects for a lifetime. While empty applause is like thorn fire, loud and bright for a moment, but quickly extinguished. This is a powerful key. Many men chase after praise and prefer the comfort of flattery over the sharpness of rebuke. But empty praise sustains no one, while instruction molds the heart to withstand pressure and temptation. The wise man knows that the discipline received today is a wall against tomorrow's downfall. He who seeks only to be applauded reaps vanity, but he who accepts correction inherits honor. It is in the patience to endure a hard word that the soul finds the path of life. Many fall into the trap of thinking that advice is a waste of time or a form of humiliation, but I tell you, there is no greater shame than the one that is born of stubbornness. The man who rejects instruction because he thinks he already knows enough is actually rejecting the very favor of God. For correction is a divine gift, an opportunity to avoid stumbles that would come at great cost. Instruction received at the right time is like a warning sign that saves a life before the edge of the cliff. Reflect on what this means in today's world. A professional who refuses feedback closes doors that could have led to higher positions. A leader who ignores his counselors drives his company into ruin. A husband or wife who refuses correction from their spouse loses chances to strengthen their covenant. The wise man understands that every piece of advice, even the harshest, is a seed of honor. And the one who refuses to learn digs his own poverty, while the one who opens to instruction builds wealth that lasts. Another common mistake is imagining that discipline and correction take away freedom, but I tell you the opposite is true. The one who rejects instruction becomes a prisoner of his own mistakes, repeating the same failures until shame overtakes him. But the one who accepts discipline finds the freedom to prosper, for he walks secure paths. Pride is a weight that causes man to stumble. Instruction is the hand that lifts him and places him back on the path of honor. And think about how this touches our reality. Many young people insist on doing only what they want, and later discover that their choices have chained them to debt, addictions, or broken relationships. Others, however, learn to submit to correction and now enjoy the freedom of a stable and prosperous life. The God-fearing man understands that discipline is not a prison. It is a wall of protection that guards him from storms. Reproof received with humility today becomes honor tomorrow, before God and before men. I would now like to read to you from Proverbs chapter 15, verses 31 to 33. I wrote, "The ear that listens to life-giving reproof will dwell among the wise. He who rejects correction despises himself, but he who hears reproof gains understanding. The fear of the Lord is instruction in wisdom, and humility comes before honor." What I meant is that correction is the door, and humility is the key. When a man leans in to listen, he enters the place of the wise and learns to walk with honor before God and men. Now let me extend this truth to your everyday life. The God-fearing man does not run from the voice that confronts him, because he knows that confrontation is care, and that the brief pain of rebuke prevents the long wound of error. When you receive counsel from a mentor, when you reassess a habit through the lens of the Word, when you accept honest feedback without justifying yourself, you do not lose dignity, you build it. This is how honor arrives. First, open ears, then adjusted steps, then doors open where once there were walls. Let me also take you to the Song of Songs, chapter 5, verses 2 to 6. There I described it like this: I was sleeping, but my heart was awake. I heard the voice of my beloved who was knocking. Open to me, my dear, I said. I have already taken off my robe. How will I put it on again? I got up to open. My hands dripped with myrrh. But when I opened, my beloved had already withdrawn, and I sought him and did not find him. I called out to him, and he did not answer me. What I intended to show is that delaying in answering the voice that calls turns a visit into absence and an opportunity into longing. Bringing this close to you, the instruction often knocks at the door at inconvenient times through simple voices in common ways, and the proud soul says, I'll deal with it later. I'll change tomorrow. I'll listen when I have time. But the wise man rises promptly, makes room for correction, responds while the window is still open, because he has learned that honor does not dwell in slow hearts. It lives where readiness meets humility, and where humility bends, God lifts. Discipline, contrary to what many think, does not imprison. It preserves. The man who rejects instruction becomes a prisoner of his own mistakes, always returning to the same point, going in circles. But the one who accepts instruction finds freedom, for he does not repeat the mistake but opens new paths. I say to you, pride makes a man stumble, instruction lifts him up. When someone refuses to listen, it's as if they tie chains to their own feet. But he who opens to counsel walks lighter, safer, and farther. And I want you to notice how this applies to your daily life. Think of someone who ignores medical advice and ends up bound by limitations that could have been avoided, or the professional who never accepts feedback and becomes trapped in his own flaws. On the other hand, the God-fearing man who listens and learns does not lose freedom. He expands it. Because instruction is like a map that opens roads once unknown. That's why I insist. Accepting correction is not humiliation. It is protection, preparation, and freedom that stretches through time and bears fruits of honor. In practical life, this translates in very clear ways. In marriage, listening to your spouse's counsel prevents crises from becoming walls. In business, hearing clients and advisors helps you foresee downfalls and avoid bankruptcy. In spiritual life, receiving God's correction is what prevents the heart from slowly drifting away. Advice received at the right time is like cool water in the heat. It saves, restores, and strengthens. And if you look at your own life, you will see that moments of growth did not come only from victories, but also from corrections received. Maybe a firm word from someone who loves you. Maybe a mistake that turned into a lesson. Maybe even a public rebuke that served to shape your character. The wise man understands that honor is not born of arrogance, but of the humility to be molded. And the sooner he embraces this truth, the sooner he reaps fruits of growth and stability in every area of his life. Instruction as protection against falls and waste. Let's calmly open to Proverbs chapter 6, verses 20 to 23. My son, keep your father's command and do not forsake your mother's instruction. Bind them always on your heart, fasten them around your neck. When you walk, they will guide you. When you lie down, they will watch over you. When you awake, they will speak to you. For this command is a lamp, this instruction a light, and the corrections of discipline are the way to life. I wrote this so that it would be clear that correction is not a burden, it's a beacon, not a chain, it's a path. Whoever carries instruction within finds direction by day, comfort at night, and a voice at dawn. And it's along this illuminated trail that the wise man avoids costly stumbles. Now, I'll open to Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verses 9 to 13. Two are better than one because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls, one can help the other up. But pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up. If two lie down together, they will keep warm. But how can one keep warm alone? Though one may be overpowered, two can defend themselves. A cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. Better a poor but wise youth than an old but foolish king who no longer knows how to heed a warning. What I meant to convey here is that instruction acts like an attentive companion, like a 3rd strand that brings strength when the winds blow hard. The God-fearing man treats counsel as a hand that lifts and a wall that protects, and he refuses the stubbornness that makes kings grow old as fools. Let me bring this closer to your life. Instruction always costs less than error. Paying with humility today is an investment. Paying with consequences tomorrow is waste. When you receive a warning, the price is small and comes with a mercy discount. When you reject it, the bill arrives with interest, shame, losses, and wasted time. The heart that welcomes correction walks with an invisible escort. The one who shuts down to advice walks unarmed through the night. There's a gap many don't see. They think discipline is just for now, to put out today's fires. I tell you, instruction is a long-term seed. It's a fence set up before the storm, a path cleared before the fog. Those who prefer to learn the hard way choose a cruel teacher. Pain teaches, but it charges dearly. The wise man learns through words, through observation, through counsel, and saves tears that never needed to be shed. Notice how this shows up in financial, professional, and family decisions. Ignoring a technical opinion because it seems slow often turns years of work into ashes. Discarding a spouse's warning out of pride turns small cracks into fractures. Disregarding medical or pastoral guidance out of impatience trades healing for chronic damage. The cost of listening is discomfort and adjustment. The cost of rejecting is loss and delay. Instruction then is not decoration, it's life insurance for your journey. I'll jump now to Proverbs, chapter 19, verses 25 to 27. Strike the mocker, and the simple will learn prudence. Rebuke the wise, and he will gain knowledge. He who dishonors father and mother brings shame and disgrace. My son, if you listen to instruction, stop straying from words of knowledge. I wrote it this way to separate 2 paths, the path of the mocker, who only learns through pain, and the path of the sensible, who grows through correction. The wise man doesn't need to fall to change. He sees in reproof a secure bridge and crosses it with humility. And I want to read now from the Song of Songs, chapter 8, verses 6 and 7. Set me as a seal upon your heart, as a seal upon your arm, for love is as strong as death, jealousy unyielding as Sheol. Its flames are fire, a blazing flame from the Lord. Many waters cannot quench love, nor can rivers drown it. If one were to give all the wealth of his house for love, it would be utterly despised. Why do I bring this here? Because relationships also demand discipline and readiness. Love is preserved through listening, through readiness, through correction received in time. Where instruction arrives, the bond stays lit. Where the voice is ignored, opportunities knock and go away. Notice the thread that unites all these readings. Instruction doesn't just protect your wallet or your career. It protects your home, your covenant, your future. The God-fearing man trains his ears to recognize the right knock. He doesn't shut the door on counsel and doesn't bargain away humility. Correction then becomes fire that warms and light that guides. A wall against the wind and a bridge over chasms. Let's move into direct reflection. There's a silent mistake. Assuming advice is humiliation. Pride whispers that listening makes you small. But the truth is the opposite. The teachable ear grows on the inside. The stubborn one grows only on the outside and collapses within. I tell you, whoever refuses instruction is refusing favor. Whoever embraces it is opening gates of honor. Translating this into concrete steps. Choose 3 trustworthy voices and make them your counsel table. Keep a feedback journal where you record critiques, filter them with prayer and turn them into action. Create a monthly review rhythm in your finances, work and relationships by asking, what instruction have I ignored? What correction do I need to apply? The wise man turns advice into a schedule. The fool turns a warning into an insult. There's also a myth about freedom. Many believe being free is doing whatever I want. But wisdom taught me something else. True freedom is walking without the chains of debt, emotional captivity, or addictive prisons, and that is born from obeyed instruction. Discipline is the wall of the inner city. Without it, any enemy walks in. Apply this to your everyday life with firmness and gentleness. Financial discipline, a simple plan, tracked spending, goals aligned with trusted counsel. Professional discipline, regular mentorship, error reviews, skill sharpening. Spiritual discipline, an open Bible, a teachable heart, correction received without excuses. Instruction is the bridge that turns effort into prosperity. It's the track where the locomotive of labor runs without derailing. Let's return for a moment to the image of the three-strand cord: your life, human counsel, and God's favor. If one strand is missing, the tension snaps the cord. But if all three are intertwined, the weight of the journey becomes bearable. I wrote all this so that the wise man does not walk alone, so that the God-fearing man does not mistake stubbornness for courage, nor humility for weakness. I close this section with a certainty gained through experience. He who accepts instruction avoids falls he will never even see, and he who rejects it spends years building walls that the wind tears down in minutes. Make advice a habit, correction a friend, and discipline a covenant, and you will see the path ahead become clear, secure, and fruitful. Counsel received at the right time is a key to honor and growth. Let's open the word together to Proverbs chapter 15, verses 31 to 33. I wrote, "The ear that listens to life-giving reproof will dwell among the wise. Whoever rejects instruction despises his own soul, but he who hears correction gains understanding. The fear of the Lord is the instruction of wisdom, and before honor comes humility." These words are like a hidden key, because they show that the obedient ear becomes a dwelling place for wisdom. Whoever despises counsel loses his own soul, but whoever welcomes correction receives understanding. What I meant to teach is that there is no honor without humility. The crown is only placed on a head bowed before instruction. See how this touches the reality of every wise man. Often counsel comes like a painful arrow, but in due time, that word which once felt harsh reveals itself as the missing treasure. It's like a door that only opens for the one who waited for the right key. The humility to receive a rebuke transforms what seemed like shame into honor, because only those willing to be shaped can grow. I'll also read from Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verses 8 to 12. "The end of a matter is better than its beginning, and patience of spirit is better than pride of spirit. Do not be quick in your spirit to become angry, for anger rests in the heart of fools. Never ask, 'Why were the old days better than these?' For it is not wise to ask such questions. Wisdom, like an inheritance, is a good thing, and benefits those who see the sun. For wisdom provides shelter just as money provides shelter. But the advantage of knowledge is this: wisdom preserves the life of its possessor." What a revelation! I meant to show that patience combined with instruction is worth more than an inheritance gained without understanding. Because money may offer shade, but only wisdom gives life. This is a lesson that applies to every detail of daily life. Many desire only a fast beginning, an easy inheritance, an immediate result. But I tell you, the end of things is better than the beginning. The God-fearing man understands that a word received at the right time is more valuable than gold, because gold may be lost, but instruction remains as a fountain of life. Now, I want you to think with me. How many times have you received a piece of advice that felt painful in the moment, but later revealed itself as protection and honor? A common deception is to believe that counsel is a personal attack. But in truth, it is preparation. What I meant to teach is that a rebuke may sound like a wound, but in the right time it blossoms into honor. This principle is visible in many everyday moments. Professional feedback that opens unexpected doors, spiritual counsel that saves from a moral fall, financial instruction that prevents lasting ruin. What separates leaders who endure from those who fall is the humility to receive correction. The wise man understands he doesn't lose his identity by being corrected. He strengthens it, because only those who are refined can shine with consistency. That's the point that separates those who flourish from those who wither on the path. When instruction comes, it demands humility, and that humility shapes character. The God-fearing man understands that correction doesn't rob him of freedom, it fortifies it. because it removes the weight of repeated mistakes and makes room for new fruit. Accepting counsel is like pruning a tree. The pain of the cut prepares it to bear even more fruit. Now, let's open to Psalms chapter 25, verses 8 to 10. My father David wrote, "Good and upright is the Lord, therefore he instructs sinners in the way. He guides the humble in justice and teaches them his way. All the paths of the Lord are mercy and truth to those who keep his covenant and his testimonies." What my father meant to show is that God himself guides the humble. He does not reject those who bow to learn. I learned from David that meekness is the key to instruction, because the Lord can only guide those who allow themselves to be taught. I also want to read from Song of Songs, chapter 5, verses 2 to 6. I slept, but my heart was awake. I heard the voice of my beloved knocking. "Open to me, my sister, my darling, my dove, my flawless one, for my head is drenched with dew, my hair with the dampness of the night. I have taken off my robe, must I put it on again? I have washed my feet, must I soil them again?" My beloved thrust his hand through the latch opening. My heart stirred for him. I arose to open for my beloved, but my beloved had withdrawn, he was gone. My heart sank at his departure. I looked for him, but did not find him. I called him, but he did not answer. Here lies a mystery. Instruction is often this knock at the door. When we don't respond, the opportunity passes, and when we open too late, only emptiness remains. What I meant to reveal with this parallel is that reproof is the knock of the beloved, an opportunity, God calling you to wisdom before the chance slips away. The wise man does not keep that voice waiting. He opens the door the moment he hears it. That readiness is what transforms reproof into honor, because whoever delays in accepting misses opportunities that won't return. There is a common illusion, the desire to grow without correction. But I say to you, it's impossible to prosper without adjusting course. Reproof is like the stone that sharpens the sword. The friction hurts, but it is what makes the blade effective in battle. Those who flee correction go to war with a dull blade. But those who allow themselves to be sharpened, even if it hurts, win with honor. And this truth is seen in every detail of daily life. At work, those who accept instruction grow faster. In life, those who welcome counsel earn lasting respect. In relationships, those who open themselves to correction preserve valuable covenants. The God-fearing man knows that instruction isn't only to avoid failure, it is also to attain honor before men and before the Lord himself. Because the discipline received at the right time becomes a staircase for growth, and each step takes you higher than the last. The wise man who loves instruction. Recall with me the words I wrote in Proverbs chapter 13, verse 18. Poverty and shame will come to him who rejects instruction, but he who heeds rebuke will be honored. There is no clearer path than this. Whoever shuts their ears to counsel finds disgrace, but whoever welcomes rebuke discovers honor. This isn't just a rule for material life. It is a spiritual principle, because when we reject instruction, we shut the door that God opened to protect us from error. And when we receive it, we open ourselves to the grace of being shaped. See how this entire journey has pointed to one truth. Discipline is not just strength for labor, but humility to listen, to learn, and to adjust your path. The God-fearing man understands that wisdom is not measured by the number of words spoken, but by the ability to listen, to receive, to obey. Many waste gifts and opportunities because they chose stubbornness. But the one who bows his heart to instruction grows stronger, matures, and prospers with security. I tell you, correction is like a protective fence. From the outside, it may seem limiting, but in truth, it is the barrier that keeps the flock from getting lost. Rebuke steadies the heart so it won't stray. Counsel guides the feet so they won't stumble. And instruction shapes the character so that the wise man is honored not only before men, but before the Lord. Do not reject that fence. Love it, for it is God's care over your life. And the call I make to you is direct. Live as a wise man before God. Seek mentors, accept counsel, listen to those who have walked the path before you. Turn criticism into a springboard for honor. Always stay alert to every word that comes your way. whether it appears as harsh critique or just a casual comment that seems to have no purpose. Don't let pride blind you. Don't be ashamed to admit your mistakes, because every correction received with humility is a brick placed in a building of wisdom that will stand for life. So seek it. Don't wait for instruction to come to you, but when it comes, receive it immediately and gladly. And there is something even deeper. Discipline is not just to shape your outward behavior. It trains the heart to obey God even before obeying men. The Holy Spirit uses human instruction, uses counsel, even rebuke, to guide us along the path of wisdom. When you accept a fair correction, you're not just listening to a human voice. You're allowing God to align your steps with His purpose. If each word found space in your heart, I tell you, live from them. Put into practice what you've learned here with me in this moment of rest. Turn every counsel into action and every instruction into fruit. For the honor that endures is not born from the one who speaks much, but from the one who listens, receives, and practices. And if my words reminded you of someone, make sure this message reaches them. I will welcome them with joy here, lying in the fields of my palace with my horses. And now, bow your head in prayer. Ask God for humility to always recognize and love instruction, courage to receive correction, and wisdom to turn every rebuke into a step of growth. For this is how you will be known as a God-fearing man. And you will live the promises found in His word and receive the honor that comes from the Lord.